What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and welcome to another top 10 video. Today we're looking at Pokemon weaknesses, 4x weaknesses that is, and there are so many powerful Pokemon that are just kicked to the side because they have that one huge type weakness, and honestly, that's not fair. In my eyes, 4x weaknesses really aren't a weakness. And before you get into the list, I'll quickly explain why. So imagine having a team with a Ferrothorn and a Seismitoad. One is 4x weak to grass, the other one is 4x weak to fire. However, they both resist the type the other is weak to. Now assume you have a Pokemon without fire or grass coverage. Now tell me, which hidden power are you running? Are you running grass for the Toad or fire for the Ferrothorn? Obviously this forces a ton of tough prep and may cause one of your Pokemon to completely wall theirs. This is the benefit of multiple 4x weak Pokemon. Before I go any further, last time I did a list video was the top 6 offensive water type Pokemon. If you missed that video, go down in the description of the video and check it out. It is linked right down there. Speaking of the description, if you guys like Draft League content and are interested in learning more about the format, in the description is a link to my Discord server, The Ocean. In The Ocean, we have a ton of different topics and discussions that should be able to help any player, whether they're novices or advanced players, to help improve their skills in the format. We have a couple different roles that include a team building role, a mock for mock role, some draft advice roles, and a couple other non-Pokemon related roles. We're closing on about 200-ish members, and we're building an awesome community, guys, so please come and check it out if you're interested. Now, there are a ton of Pokemon that have 4x weakness, and sometimes it's hard to determine which are the best. This list should help change all of that. I'm going to take a look at the Pokemon I believe are the 10 best Pokemon with a 4x weakness and tell you why they deserve to be on this list. My criteria for their ranking are 1. How good is a Pokemon on its own? 2. How good is it when paired with another 4x weak Pokemon? And of course, can it take advantage of its 4x weakness? Oh, and I'm not counting Pokemon that are usually banned in standard leagues. If you have a question about which Pokemon I'm going to be allowing or not, you can ask them in the comment section below. Anyways, if you're excited for the next Pokemon top 10 list, make sure to smash the like button. I want to see if we can hit around 40 likes on this video. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Here are the top 10 Pokemon with a 4x weakness. At number 10, we have Alolan Ninetales. I love this Pokemon. Unlike Mr. Dan, aka A-Drive, I don't think this is a top 10 Pokemon, but it is a pretty damn good one. Usually found in tier 2, maybe tier 3 if you're extremely lucky in draft formats. You'll see that this Pokemon has a lot of good team options. It's extremely fast with base 109 speed. It's got decent special attack at 81, but that can be kind of resolved with Nasty Plot and Calm Mind. It's got Snow Warning, which is probably one of the most underwhelming weathers, but you do get access to Veil, and having Veil is extremely useful. This Pokemon can actually make those 4x weak moves only be 2x weak against it because it has access to Aurora Veil. Obviously, priority bullet punches are really going to be putting a damper on what Alolan Ninetales wants to do, but this Pokemon has a ton of great coverage options that can kind of deal with a lot of Pokemon that will threaten it. Some of those coverage options include moves like Blizzard and Moonblast. You have access to moves like Dark Pulse, Psyshock, and of course all the hidden powers available to you. This Pokemon is really good at supporting a team and is one of the most interesting type combinations we have in the game. Although it's ranked number 10 on my list, it'll probably be drafted ahead of a couple Pokemon listed below just because of the amazing team support that this Pokemon provides. So if you want a Alolan Ninetales on your squad, you gotta pick it up between rounds 2 and 4, or else it's gone. Coming in at number 9, we have Weavile. Now Weavile is incredibly good offensively. Dark and Ice is probably one of the most amazing offensive typings alone we have in the game. Obviously, Ice is pretty bad defensively, and Dark doesn't really help that much, making you 4x weak to fighting. But Weavile has a couple redeeming qualities. Number 1 being its sky-high speed at base 125, and its pretty damn good attack at base 120. And when you pair that with a lot of powerful offensive moves like Ice Shard, Icicle Crash, Pursuit, Knockoff, Poison Jab, and a couple other really good moves, this Pokemon can hit like a truck. Obviously, Weavile gets Swords. This increases the threat of it putting in so much work. The reason why it's at number 9 on my list instead of being higher, even though it is usually found in tier 1 of most tier drafts, is that it's just so frail that it can't take any type of fighting move. Obviously, its special defense at base 85 is good enough to take some non-stab hidden power fightings, but you're not taking a Mach Punch from something that is not stab because your defense is only base 65. This Pokemon has so many good qualities, it just really sucks that having priority Mach Punches be the biggest downfall to it. At number 8, I have Buzzwole. Now Buzzwole is a Pokemon that I'm not that big of a fan of personally, but it does do a good job of dealing with its 4x weakness. Being 4x weak to flying when most flying moves are physical like Aerial Ace, and having the sky high 107 HP and 139 defense, you could take an Aerial Ace that's non-stab and take it pretty well even. You might not even take 60% from it. That's how crazy bulky Buzzwole is. Obviously you have a ton of great options for moves in terms of coverage. You have ridiculous moves like Drain Punch, you have the Elemental Punches, you have Earthquake, you have access to recovery in Leech Life, you have Outrage, which is pretty damn cool because of move tutors. Poison Jab is great to have as well, and probably one of my favorite things to do with a Buzzwole would have to be a sub-roost set. That's just really good to have. It's so bulky and it can take so many hits on the physical side. Having a wall of a Pokemon being a bug fighting type is really, really cool to have. Of course, the most redeeming quality that Buzzwole has is the fact that it has amazing attack stat base 139, just like its defense, and Beast Boost. Beast Boost will allow it to increase its attack or defense. It's going to be one of those two depending on what set you run by one stage every time it gets a KO. That's crazy. Imagine 139. That's like, you guys don't understand. Like, we say Weavile hits like a truck. This Pokemon has almost 20 points attack higher than that. Imagine that at +1. That's going to be just insane. Obviously, Buzzwole's paper thin special defense at base 53 isn't going to allow you to take random hidden power flyings, but if it's just a wall that's coming in and it has no investment in special defense, you can take it. It's just not going to be pretty. Number 7, Hydreigon. Hydreigon has to be one of the coolest Pokemon on this list. I love its design, I love its move pool. Everything about this Pokemon, in theory, would make it one of the coolest Pokemon for me to use in the format. But I don't understand why, but I cannot for the life of me use this thing effectively. But that doesn't change the fact that this thing is insanely good. It has a 4x weakness to Fairy because of their Dark and Dragon typing, which kind of sucks, but you do have a couple factors that will allow you to remedy that. Namely, you do get access to Flash Cannon, so you can have a way to hit them super effectively, and if you are a Choice Specs Hydreigon, they're really not going to want to switch in twice on a Choice Specs Flash Cannon, obviously, because you do have, what, 125 special attack, which is pretty damn good. Along with that 125 special attack, you have 105 attack with powerful physical moves like Superpower and of course U-Turn, Crunch as well. You have Outrage too. This will allow you to be a mixed attacker too, and that's just so useful to have. Just having the option is so nice. A lot of times Pokemon are forced to be either physical or special, and having the ability to choose one or the other depending on your matchup is just incredibly useful. At 98 base speed, I wish it was 3 points faster to creep that 100 benchmark, but it would just be too broken. I think we can all agree on that. Having this stats with 3 points extra in speed being 101 would just make this Pokemon way too good. If we look at its other moves, Hydreigon can really shine as a supporting Pokemon. You get moves like Taunt, Defog, you get access to Roost and Tailwind, Roar especially is really cool, and of course one of my favorite moves, Thunder Wave. Now none of that can really help with the Moonblast that will be coming in from a Florges or something, but the good news is there's no hidden power fairy for Hydreigon to worry about yet, so it can find itself pretty high on this list. At number 6, we have Kommo-O. I absolutely love this Pokemon. I love Hydreigon's design. I adore Kommo-Os. And to top it off, it has 3 amazing abilities in Bulletproof, Soundproof, and Overcoat. Yeah, other mons have good abilities. Levitate on Hydreigon is pretty cool, but to me, these 3 can be switched around whenever you need them. Don't want to take damage from Hail or Sand? You got Overcoat. Don't want to take damage from moves like Shadow Ball? You got Bulletproof. Don't want to take Hyper Voices from Mega Gardevoir? Soundproof. Again, just like Hydreigon, there's no hidden power fairy to deal with Kommo-O effectively, so that's extremely useful, and that bumps it up a notch or 2 on my list. But if we look at its stats, it could take a fairy move or 2. You got 75 HP, 125 defense, and 105 special defense. That's pretty damn bulky. Also, you have, what, 110 attack and 100 special attack? That's good enough. Pairing that with 85 base speed is, again, just insane, and especially when you have access to Dragon Dance or Autotomize, even Rock Polish, you can really cover a lot of threats, and a lot of the time you won't even be taking Fairy type moves because you have access to both Poison Jab, Iron Head, and Flash Cannon. I said both, but I meant all 3 of those moves. That's really good, along with powerful options in terms of stab with Dragon Claw, Outrage, you have access to Close Combat, you have access to Focus Blast, which is amazing. Kommo, just in general, it covers such a wide range of types in terms of moves and coverage that there's very little that your opponent can do to prepare for an offensive Kommo, even though that may not even be its best role. If this Pokemon is found in Tier 3, it is a huge steal, and I would be drafting it around round 3 or round 4. If it's found in Tier 2, then this Pokemon kind of slides down a little bit to me, but not past round 6. This Pokemon is insanely strong, and if you can pick it up in your draft, you seriously won't be disappointed. Alright, here we are at number 5, and to those of you guys who are actually watching this video instead of skipping through to see exactly what mods I put on the layouts, shout out to you guys. I love you. Big heart to you guys. Back to the list. Number 5, we have Zygarde. Now, Zygarde is the beginning of the really kind of insane Pokemon we have on this list. And the reason why Zygarde is at number 5 instead of all the way up at something like number 3 and the number 2 maybe, but the reason why it's so low is because it doesn't have access to the greatest move pool in the world. If this Pokemon had Dragon Claw, I would probably put it ahead of the next Pokemon I have on the list, and you kind of look at that, and another reason being its only base 100 attacking stat, as being the 2 main reasons why I can't put it higher. Obviously, its bulk with 108 HP, 121 defense, and 95 special defense is pretty damn good. The issue is Hidden Power Ice is also a thing, and that is a very common type to run for Hidden Power. Ice is probably one of the best offensive typings in the game, but you look at what it can do, you don't have the greatest answers for Ice types. Your Steel move is Iron Tail, you don't really have a Poison move outside of Sludge Wave, and you're not really a special attacker, so you become kind of predictable in what you can do with Zygarde. Obviously, it's an amazing setup sweeper with Coil and Sub or Dragon Dance. You get extra points for having priority and extreme speed. Obviously, 1000 Arrows is a really good factor that makes Zygarde so much better than it actually is, and its stats overall are pretty damn good. One thing that does knock it down though is its inability to have, well, an ability. Aura Break is pretty much useless. You look at it, I'm going to read what it says off of Showdown. While this Pokemon is active, the Dark Aura and the Fairy Aura power is 0.75 times. That is not important, like, at all for standard format. We're not dealing with Yveltals, we're not dealing with Xerneases, so Zygarde basically has no ability. Overall though, it still finds itself above Kommo and Hydreigon just because it's so damn good. This is a round 1, round 2 at the absolute latest pick. If this Pokemon goes undrafted in your league, I don't know what's up. You're probably playing with some Ubers, but this thing is insanely good. It's one of the best Pokemon out there, and if you have a chance to try it, and if you haven't already, do it. At number 4, we have the 4th dragon in a row, being Salamence. Salamence finds itself at the top of the list for the dragons for this video because, well, it's Salamence. I think Salamence is one of the best Pokemon in the format. It's insanely strong. You look at its typing, first of all, being immune to ground types is just incredible, and having the ability to just switch it on those comfortably and set up a Dragon Dance and go for game is just unmatched. Then looking at its stats, you have 135 attack and 110 special attack. What I tell you guys before with Hydreigon, having the ability to run physical or special or mixed is such a huge advantage that some Pokemon just don't have the option to do. Also, when you pair its ability in Intimidate with its pretty good defense stats and 95 HP, 80 defense, and 80 special defense, you're pretty formidable on that side. You can roost off damage, you can Wish Pass, you can set up Tailwinds for your team, and of course you can defog too. And now I've covered all 5 of his stats except for speed, but speed at base 100 is what? It's the best one out of all the dragons we've covered so far, and that again gives it an advantage. It also gets Dragon Claw, which doesn't hurt at all. Probably the biggest reason why I have Salamence above all the other ones is that it can take a hit, roost off the damage reliably, and at the same time go for game at the exact same time. None of the other dragon types I have on this list can do that. Hydreigon can roost up damage, sure, but it can't set up. Kommo and Zygarde can't recover any health without rest, so it's kind of unfortunate there. Salamence, just overall, it really fits a team together well. Defensive Salamence is probably one of my favorite sets to see. It's just so interesting and so cool to see how people use this thing. Obviously the Rock's weakness kind of sucks, but we're not worrying about that in this video. We're worrying about the Ice type weakness, and obviously Salamence kind of suffers from that, especially because Ice type priority in Ice Shard is a thing. But if you switch in on a Pokemon that has Ice Shard and you get your Intimidate off, you can obviously lower their attack stat by 1 stage. That makes you can definitely take that Ice Shard, unless it's like a Weavile or a Mamoswine. Then, I mean, you're screwed. But those Pokemon are like 2 of the best Ice types in the game. Not everyone has them. Overall, Salamence just does so many good things for a team, and that's why I have it so high at number 4 on my list. At number 3, we have a pick that might surprise you, and that is Hoopa-Unbound. But Matt, you said no busted Pokemon, it's gotta be all standard league stuff. Yeah, well, Hoopa-Unbound is starting to creep more and more into these standard leagues because, again, it has this particular weakness. Being 4 times weak to Bug, specifically being weak to U-Turn 4 times, is a huge problem. A lot of Pokemon get U-Turn, a lot of Pokemon get Signal Beam. That's an issue because Hoopa obviously can't take those hits. Yeah, it might take a Signal Beam, but it's not taking 2. It's not taking a Signal Beam from Pokemon with respectable special attack. Its typing offensively though is extremely, extremely good. And to me, I have it above Salamence and above the dragons below it because it's a round 1 Pokemon. It's just that freaking good. You look at its coverage moves, they're ridiculous. You have Fighting, Ghost, you have Grass, you have Psychic, Poison, Dark, all these coverages, Thunder, Electric coverage, I want to say Thunder Punch, but you have Thunder Punch, Thunderbolt, there's so much that you can do. The big downfall to it is that its speed is kind of right in the middle. At base 80 speed, you can run a Scarf set, but you're not going to outspeed everything, and it may not be the best option because there are Pokemon that like to be Scarf that are faster than base 80, and you can't really run Trick Room because your lowest possible speed stat is going to be 148, which is still pretty high. So again, it's kind of iffy. Obviously, Magician as an ability is pretty cool. It can catch your opponent off guard, but most of the time it's kind of useless if you're running something that isn't a perishable item, like, I don't know, a Power Herb or a White Herb or a Gem or whatever it is. So you gotta be very careful there. Anyways, Hoopa though is ridiculous. Like, all I need to do is say its attacking stats: 160 attack, 170 special attack. That's the highest of any stat on this list, and it's pretty much not even close. So yeah, Hoopa had to be on this list, guys. And if you guys aren't using Hoopa in your standard leagues yet, I really suggest you guys add it to the draft pool. It probably shouldn't go first overall, even if I had it in my my video that I made like almost a year ago of my top 10 Pokemon in the format. I still really wouldn't have it there. Anyways though, that's enough on Hoopa. Let's move on to our number 2. At number 2, we have the Pokemon that a lot of people say is the best in the format when you're not including Megas. That is Landorus-T. I'm not one of those people. I don't believe Landorus-T is the best Pokemon, but that's for another video. So let's just get into it. Landorus does a lot of things really, really good. It does very few things poorly. It's a really good sponge for physical hits, having 89 HP, 90 defense, and 80 special defense, and of course having Intimidate helps with that. It has phenomenal typing, being immune to electric types and ground type attacks, which are two of the most spammable typings in the entire game, being extremely useful for you. It has really good coverage from the physical and the special side. Unfortunately, no reliable flying stab outside of, well, fly. But this thing does so well at so many different roles. One of those roles is a Choice Scarf. One of those roles is a Dual Dancer with Z-Fly and Earthquake. One of those roles is defensive, like I said before. Another one is a Defogger. Another one's a Stealth Rocker. This thing just does so many good things. But where I can't put it at number 1 is that it doesn't have recovery. It's really, really pressured, and it kind of needs a Wish Pass if you want to be defensive. I'm using it right now. I've used it a couple times, and I always find it kind of underwhelming for my playstyle, and I always want to set up a Swords Dance and a Rock Polish with it and go for game because it can do that literally every week, even though it may not be the best set. So you just gotta be careful with how you play it. Its special defense stat is kind of subpar, so you're not really going to be taking many Hidden Power Ices, and you might be forced to run Yachu Berry a couple times in weeks that you really don't want to, and you really need that, whether it's a Choice Band or a Choice Scarf or even the Z move. Landorus has a ton of great options. We'll go over some of its moves right now. Obviously, you have access to your ground and flying stab, being most notably Earthquake, Earth Power, and Fly. You then have fighting coverage and Hammer Arm and Focus Blast. You then have access to moves like Knockoff, Outrage. You have your Stone Edge. You have obviously Poison type coverage, which is really cool to deal with potential Bulus or Whimsicots. And of course, you have one of the best moves in the entire game, being U-Turn. This thing is just so powerful. 145 attack is insane. 91 speed it's good enough to get the job done. Overall, Landorus is one of the better Pokemon in the format. It is definitely a Pokemon that, if you're playing in a standard league, this Pokemon needs to be drafted in the top 5 picks. There's no excuse. This Pokemon is one of the best 5 Pokemon in the format. Now, quick honorable mention, I will say Ferrothorn was very close to making this list. It's a really good Pokemon. It's a pretty damn good wall, both physically and especially defensively, but it doesn't really do much more than that, and that's why I can't put it on this list, but it was close to knocking Ninetales off. I just felt like Ninetales was a bit more important to let you guys know about. Anyways, number 1, we have Mega Scizor. Okay, yeah, I usually don't put Megas on these lists, but Mega Scizor is definitely the best Pokemon in League form that has a 4x weakness, without a doubt. To me, it's not even close. This is probably one of the best Pokemon overall if you were looking at just a league in general. Having ridiculous stats, you have 70 HP, which may not look that great, but when you pair it with 140 defense and 100 special defense, you can take random Hidden Power Fires. You can invest special defensively and be really, really bulky. You also have access to Roost, which will allow you to gain back a lot of HP that you took. You have Priority Bullet Punch. You have access to U-Turn, which may not be Technician boosted like Bug Bite, but it is still going to be doing a lot of damage coming from your ridiculous 150 base attacking stat. All of its stats are placed in the right areas. You don't need your special attack, so you have base 65. And even if you would want to use something like Hidden Power Rock to hit a Charizard or whatever it may be, you can run that and it'll still be effective enough because 65 special attack isn't horrible, but it's just serviceable. Mega Scizor also is really good at doing multiple different things. It can be a Zeb Sweeper with access to Swords Dance. It could be a Defogger. It can be a Breaker. It can just do so many different things. I don't think it can do as many as Landorus does, but it does these things a bit better than other Pokemon that would be doing these similar things. Mega Scizor is quickly climbing up one of my favorite Mega lists, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorite bug types in the entire format, and I've used Arceus Bug in League, so that's saying something. Mega Scizor overall is an amazing start to a Fairy Dragon Steel core, which can really set the tone for your draft, and of course, you can do so many other things that I didn't say here. You just gotta get creative with your sets. Anyways, guys, that's my list. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Would you make any changes? Did you like any of my suggestions? Do you completely disagree with me? Let me know. If you guys liked the video, consider supporting it by leaving a like and sharing it as well. If you share it to Twitter and at me in the tweet at @MattOshea, I'll like it and thank you personally for the love. If you want to support the channel further, definitely hit that big subscribe button and the bell icon next to my name to get alerted whenever I post new content. If you guys want to know my thoughts on other Pokemon that you might be thinking should have made this list, you can ask them down in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.